and welcome to the Reasons I'm Broke podcast, bringing you the reasons we're broke, ranging from comics, movies, TV, video games, and more. I'm Kelly.
And I'm Daniel.
And for those of you joining us for the first time, finally, welcome to our show. The way we format is first we start out with some news, again ranging from comics, movies, TV, video games, and more, and we follow up with our comic book pull list of the week.
We're going to get rid of the sad news right away, and that is our only piece of video game news, and that is that Nintendo President Satoru Iwata passed away last Saturday at the age of 55.
In a statement from the company, Nintendo deeply regrets to announce that President Satoru Iwata passed away on July 11th, 2015, due to a bile duct growth.
Iwata first joined Nintendo in the 1980s, where he worked on games like Balloon Fight and Earthbound. He became a director of the company in 2000, and in 2002 was appointed as only the fourth president of Nintendo. He was actually the first member who was not an immediate member of the founding family of Nintendo.
Wow. Amazing. Definitely accomplished a lot of great things while he was president of Nintendo. This kind of came out of nowhere. We were completely surprised. We had just seen him at E3 and thought he looked better than he had previously. And, unfortunately, this happened.
Last year, he had lost a lot of weight, wasn't looking too good, and people had noticed, and ended up canceling his E3 appearance. And then a little bit afterward, he went under a surgery, and he did start gaining some weight, started looking a little bit healthier. So everyone was kind of really taken aback when this news came out on Saturday, because he seemed to be doing fine, and it's a relatively young age at 55.
Mm-hmm.
It's too bad. Iwata is responsible for Pokemon Gold and Silver being what they ended up being. Is that your favorite Pokemon game, or is it Yellow?
Yellow's my favorite, but Gold and Silver are very close second.
It is, Heart Gold is my favorite in the Pokemon franchise, and that's because you can actually visit the old gyms after you defeat the first 8 new batch of gyms at that time. Mm-hmm. You can go back to Kanto, you can see how it's all changed, and you can see how even the Elite Four, like Koga, was one of the members at that point. He went up from a gym leader into an Elite Four member, and you go through all of those gyms again, and then you fight Red at the very end. And it's all because of the team that they couldn't get the compression from the original maps into Gold and Silver in addition to what they already had. So he worked on a compression program to actually get that to work in Silver and Gold. Mm-hmm. So because of him, a lot of people would say that game might not have been as successful or as remembered because of those extra games if there weren't for him.
I would agree with that. I would agree, because that's when I would go to replay those games, that's what I was always looking forward to. Oh, I got to beat this so I can go and do another whole round of gym leaders and Elite Four and visit all those old places.
And as a kid, I didn't know that that's actually what happened. So you got like double a game at that point.
Yeah.
When you went right back, and then when you fought Red, that was one of the most epic moments in the Pokemon franchise. And I don't think since then you haven't had the option of going back through the gyms all over again after you beat the Elite Four.
Right.
It's just been extra game content from a map that already exists. We haven't gone through an extra map like we did in Gold and Silver, and that was one of the things that Iwata did, and it was huge at that point. So it is a huge loss for Nintendo, unfortunately. I don't think they announced a new president yet, but either way, the company's not gonna be the same without Iwata.
Agreed. But with that very sad news out of the way, we can move into some movie news. For those of you who listened last week, we talked about how we were giving half of the San Diego Comic-Con news. A little bit later, we'll get into the rest of that news. But first off, you saw Ant-Man this week.
Yeah, I did. I saw it last night. A short little review for it, because you weren't able to see it. And it's not going to come as a surprise to longtime Brokehead listeners. I wasn't crazy about it. I thought it was just okay. I'm not going to be seeing it again. To give you a comparison, I enjoyed Jurassic World more than I did Ant-Man.
Because Jurassic World was amazing.
Jurassic World was entertaining. It wasn't a great film.
If his name was T-Rex Man, then it would have been a lot cooler.
Ant-Man definitely has a lot of problems. It's got some storytelling issues. The special effects are okay, but I don't think this got as big of a budget as some of the mainstream Marvel movies, nor should it, because it's not a well-known superhero, at least to the general public. It quickly is becoming, although the box office returns haven't been anywhere near what the recent Marvel movies have been. It hasn't even touched what Guardians of the Galaxy did. It's actually still going up against Minions, which opened up, I think, a week and a half ago.
Ugh, Minions.
But Ant-Man, the story itself, the characters, I didn't get attached to. Ant-Man himself wasn't very interesting. Michael Douglas is just kind of there. And I don't know, it didn't really do it for me. And I think after watching the movie, I've come to realize that if you're into the Marvel humor, and if you're really invested into the Marvel cinematic universe, you will enjoy Ant-Man way more. You will kind of forgive the storytelling and the movie itself for a lot of things, because there are some very neat Easter eggs that if you are a huge Marvel person, at least into the movies, you will catch those and enjoy them that much more. But me, I've only enjoyed Captain America 1 and 2, and then Guardians of the Galaxy. The rest of them I haven't been crazy about, so I'm obviously not going to be going nuts over certain character appearances, and I'm not going to spoil them on here. Or for even the after credit scene, even though it does involve one of my favorite in the Marvel Universe movies. So that's one of the things that you have to keep in mind when I say I didn't really enjoy it, but the movies aren't really for me. They're not. I look to digest it and think about it, and I've talked about it before. I love to think about my movie and the story and watch it again and see it in a whole different way and really digest it all. And you don't get that with Ant-Man. It's just a summer movie, but not as entertaining as Jurassic World. But you can let us know, Brokettes, if you disagree with me, that's fine. We disagree on Avengers, I'm sure. That's one of my least favorite of the Marvel Universe movies. You can get at us on Twitter at ReasonsI'mBroke, Facebook.com/TheReasonsI'mBroke.
Keeping with our Marvel movie theme, Entertainment Weekly has given us the first look at X-Men Apocalypse.
They also showed us some of the characters that will be appearing in X-Men Apocalypse.
Mm-hmm. So on the cover of Entertainment Weekly, we see Psylocke, Magneto, and Apocalypse.
If you actually go through the magazine, you will see that they have also revealed Nightcrawler, Storm, Cyclops, Jean Grey, and Jubilee. All of these are young versions of those characters, because we do have young Magneto and young Xavier, which we first saw in X-Men First Class. Excellent movie.
That was a
My
great
favorite
movie.
of all the X-Men movies. So what were your impressions on some of these characters? You've seen all of them, haven't you?
I have. They looked pretty cool. I'm not excited for the movie. It's not one that I'm really looking forward to. But my favorite part was all the Photoshop that people did.
So what did they Photoshop? What were they making fun of?
So they Photoshopped the cover, and they're saying that Apocalypse looks like a Power Ranger.
A Power Ranger villain.
Yes.
In specific, Ivan Ooze from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie.
And it was perfect.
He actually does look almost exactly like Ivan Ooze. It does not look like the comic book Apocalypse that we all kind of are familiar with, or even from the cartoons. I knew that he wasn't going to be huge unless they did a full CGI of the character, kind of like the I guess they could have done it kind of like Juggernaut, or done some camera tricks like Hagrid in the Harry Potter films, or done something like Groot where it's all CGI. But that's the only way you were going to get that massive size on Apocalypse. But instead it looks like we're going to get some prosthetics, which is fine, but it doesn't look like the face, at least doesn't look like Apocalypse. I can do with the costume change, because it would have looked weird with the booty shorts.
It would have been perfect with the booty shorts.
Then you would have had to find an actor with a nice ass to do Apocalypse justice.
That was like stipulations. Like, we don't care how you can act. You just have to have a nice ass.
And giant legs and giant arms. All of that. It's a lot to ask for.
I think they just tried to make him prettier.
You think that looks pretty?
Yeah, compared to what he was in the comics, yeah. Definitely prettier.
He's more human looking.
Prettier, yeah.
At the Irish on Fire from Twitter, he listens to our show and huge interactive on Twitter as well. He actually linked me to a photoshopped image of slight improvements on Apocalypse. So they did the bigger lips and then the lines going from the lips up to his head. And it looked awesome. And he said this is such an easy fix that they didn't do. At this point, the movie is done. It's filmed. Maybe they can do some post-production fixing, but when you release an image on Entertainment Weekly, you're not going to back off from what you're already advertising.
Be like, surprise! This really was just a Power Ranger.
It's kind of like when the Turtles, when the first images of those guys came out, and people did the Photoshop rounded things, and they're like, "Look how improved it is just from this." It would have taken them way too much time to actually go back through the computering, and it's simply. If I were a studio head, I'd be like, it's not worth it. I'm sorry. It's a lot of money that goes into that.
Could you flip some tables, though? Be like, who didn't catch this?
Oh, yeah. You can still blame someone, of course.
Okay,
you approved this. I did not approve this.
Somebody's got to lose their job.
Yeah, someone other than the studio head. I think at the end of the day, it's sort of like the Joker makeup, which we're not crazy about. As long as the character of Apocalypse is done well, as long as the movie, that's the important part. As long as the movie overall is awesome, that's all that matters. The makeup could be shit. The movie is what should come above all. The story in that.
This is set to release May 27th, 2016, and it will be directed by Bryan Singer.
Still Bryan Singer. I want to see the First Class director come back. I think his name is Matthew Vaughn. He did such a good job.
Amazing job.
The reason he didn't do the First Class sequel was because he was actually working on the Kingsman Service.
Okay. We still haven't seen that one, but...
We'll have to, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, because he did a great job with First Class.
Hopefully he returns to the franchise at some point, but if not, we did have First Class. Happy to own it on Blu-ray, happy to see it every now and again. So this one's just for you, Kelly.
Just for me.
Co-showrunner Wendy Marisol and Arrow star Stephen Amell openly talked about getting Matt Ryan as Constantine to appear in the TV show Arrow.
Yes!
We do have a quote here from Wendy.
It's something we've been talking to DC about, and it's just a question of some political things, but also the actor's schedule. We're trying to work it out, but we don't know 100% if it's going to happen, said Wendy.
Since Constantine's cancellation, Matt Ryan has filmed 2 movies, Away and 500 Miles North, but doesn't have anything slated afterward. So we could possibly see Constantine in Arrow.
I know what they need to do. They need to put Constantine in Arrow, but make it like Constantine's the only one in that episode. Like Arrow can go on vacation or something and Constantine's got to save the town, right? And then we're going to rename the show Constantine.
We got to do a merging of Arrow and Constantine just to take off the edge a little bit so that people aren't too thrown off and think they flipped to the wrong show.
A Constantine.
A Constantine Arrow, maybe?
No, we just take the first letter of Arrow.
Arrowstein?
Arrowstein sounds like a bad cover band. Just Constantine. I don't care about Arrow.
Look, this is good news because if Constantine is in the show and his popularity goes back up, it could spin right back into having him do half a season order. Just do half a season order and see how it does after he makes his appearances in Arrow.
Or they could get my hopes up and crush me again.
They could do that too.
Which is probably what will happen if we're going to be real.
Well, they're trying to be optimistic about it.
Hopefully he shows up. I mean, really... Matt Ryan, what else do you have going on?
He's doing films. I think he gets paid more for that.
But he's Constantine.
He'll forever be Constantine in your mind.
He will forever just be Constantine. Like, we could be watching these 2 movies, I'd be like, what's Constantine doing here? Why isn't he doing, like, some spells and shit? He's just running away.
It's better than no news, so this is great.
Is true.
Awesome stuff. Hopefully we'll still get it. # save Constantine.
Yes. # put down dummies for dummies. Shifting into some comic book news, DC Comics released their October 2015 solicitations.
You'll see these in the previews catalog in about a week. And for the full list, you can head on over to newsarama.com. They'll have some images on there as well. Not the variants, but they'll have the main covers. The first big bit of news is that the new creative team for Detective Comics, which we knew Brian Buccellato and Francis Manapul had pulled out of, has been revealed, starting with Detective Comics number 45.
So as you said, Francis Manapul and now Brian Buccellato are leaving to work on different DC and independent projects. So writer Peter J. Tomasi, who's worked on Batman and Robin, and artist Marcio Takara, who's worked on Captain Marvel, will be taking over the book.
We love Peter J. Tomasi. He absolutely killed it in Batman and Robin. So, awesome replacement. Cannot wait to see what he does with Detective Comics. And Marcio Takara, I follow him on Twitter. He does excellent work. I showed you some of his artwork.
It's absolutely beautiful. Yeah, so very excited for this team up. We should see some great things.
And it's not so different from Francis Manapul's artwork. I think Marcio Takara's is going to bring a very unique look to the Detective Comics series. He does a lot of watercolors, a lot of Copic markers as well, and his inking is absolutely superb. I don't know if he's actually going to do his own inking on this project, but either way, this is going to be a gorgeous looking comic book. And absolutely the change they need, because right now Detective is struggling, as we did review the latest issue, I want to say 2 podcasts ago. So Peter J. Tomasi welcoming you with open arms. After Batman and Robin, we wanted to know where you were going. He went to Arkham Knight. I read the first issue and I was like, this is enough. But now with Detective Comics, we know he can write Batman.
Another book we're excited for is Sinestro number 16.
Yeah, generally we're just covering the items that Kelli and I are personally excited for based on what we review every single week. Summary for Sinestro number 16 is, quote, the leader of the Sinestro Corps must travel to Earth to seek help from Black Adam, the one man who may be able to help Sinestro end his conflict with the Paling.
This is the best team up ever!
When did we last see them team up again? Or when did we first see them team up, I should say?
Last time we saw them together was Forever Evil, and they were so badass.
They both laughed together as they flew off into outer space. They're buddies, immediately buddies because of that.
They're in love now.
Well, they're not in love. No, Sinestro has his old wife that died.
Okay,
that's where his heart will always be.
But she was kind of a bitch.
Only because of what the new book wrote. Like, it wasn't under Jeff Johns' watch, really.
Mm-hmm. She's kind of a bitch. I think he should be with Black Adam instead.
I think he should be with the bookkeeper of the Sinestro Corps.
Isn't that himself?
Well, no, it's I forget her name, but she can see the future a little bit.
Lissa.
Yes. It's Lyssa. I think it's Lyssa or Lisa.
I thought you were talking about the bookkeeper of the Green Lantern Corps, and I'm like, that's Sinestro.
The future.
It's old man Sinestro. No, I don't like her. She's creepy too. He should just be with Black Adam.
What about the new god that joined the Sinestro Corps?
I don't like her either.
I think she's cool. He was trying to seduce her.
Yeah, but she just, seduces men without trying. So does he really love her? Is he just being seduced?
We know Sinestro is the greatest Green Lantern of all time, yes?
Yes.
So he has the most amount of will, or the most control of will, and also fear to overcome it. So he can will himself not to be seduced by this lady.
Okay, but let me ask you, who would rule the world better? Sinestro and any of these chicks, or Sinestro and Black Adam?
I guess we'll find out when Sinestro number 16 comes out, because we don't really know how they're going to interact, Black Adam and Sinestro.
They're going to get married, and it's going to be adorable.
Black Adam has an ego on him, and so does Sinestro. So they're not going to work out. They're going to clash.
And that's why they're perfect together. Because they fight, and then they realize they love each other, but they still fight, but then they make up.
I disagree, but we've got statues coming up here that we can add to the solicitation talk.
The first one is Gotham City Garage Harley Quinn Deluxe Statue. This is designed by Dustin Nguyen and sculpted by Adam Ross and James Marsano.
This one measures 15 inches long, 7.5 inches wide, and 8.5 inches tall. Gorgeous looking statue.
It's beautiful.
If you haven't seen the Catwoman one, it's in the same line of motorcycles. I believe he's going to do Poison Ivy next.
Ugh.
Either way, the coloring is absolutely amazing on this. It's not a comic book style coloring like we do see in the typical statues. They actually get the different flesh colors on them, some blushing wherever it needs to be. It's professional work. This is the top of the line statues that you can get if you don't count Sideshow.
This is limited edition of 1,000, but please tell Broquettes why we will not be picking this up.
Because it is $425. Releasing December 2015. Now remember, this is the deluxe edition. So this is the one that includes the hyenas on the sidecar. DC Collectibles did say that originally Dustin Nguyen's concept did have those hyenas on the side. And they said this is going to be too expensive for consumers, so they made it with just Harley Quinn on the motorcycle. And for, I think it was $325. I don't remember what it was originally for that solicitation, but those orders already went through, and they said maybe we'll offer the deluxe version in the future. And this is the time for people that actually waited and wanted the hyenas with Harley Quinn, because if you're going to go all out and buy one of these, might as well spend the extra money and get the hyenas. Get her babies. So that's why that came out, and I'm happy it released for those collectors out there that do want to get one of these 1,000 statues.
If anybody would like to buy me one, I will gladly accept it. Unfortunately, as beautiful as it is, I think it's a little too high out of my price range.
Oh, just a little bit too high. Tiny bit. Staying on Harley Quinn, though, there is a Harley Quinn and Joker 2nd edition of a certain statue.
So due to the popularity of the original statue, based on the iconic cover, Batman Harley Quinn #1, it's back, bringing your favorite deranged duo of Harley and Mr. J to life.
This, if you remember, Broquettes, we did an unboxing for the original run of this guy. It's based on the Alex Ross painting. And that's the one we've seen on different t-shirts and wallets. It's Harley Quinn in her classic jester outfit from the animated series. And then a Jack Nicholson-style Joker right behind her. I think it's Tango with Death, something similar to that. And she's holding his neck and he's holding her hand and looking straight at the camera, what would be the camera of this very famous artwork by Alex Ross, probably one of my favorites. And this time with the new solicitation or this new reproduction of these, what's different about the Joker? Harley Quinn looks exactly the same, but they did change how Joker looks.
Yep, the Joker is actually in color instead of just black and white.
Right, the suit itself is what you're referring to. It's actually in purple, orange. You got a little bit of blue there for the tie. Which one's your personal favorite?
I like the one that we got, which is just based off the original, all dark. There's a beautiful contrast between the two. Obviously, Harley with just her black and red, and then Joker just in the dark tones.
That being said, though, if you wanted to match more to the comics or the animated series, this suit does look more like the Joker in those aspects. So if you want to try to get those, or if you missed out on the first run of these, this is not a bad line either. This is a gorgeous statue, and we did our review. If you want to check it out on youtube.com/thereasonsimbroke, click on our unboxing playlist and you can see the unboxing there. It's well worth the money and a really well done piece.
So this statue will stand at 12.5 inches tall, and it's pricing in at $250.
It will also be set to release on December 2015.
Ugh, December's going to be a rough month for a lot of people.
Just in time for the holidays. You know, it's a good gift you can ask for someone.
Merry Christmas, kids. Here's this Joker and Harley. Oh, you don't like it? I'll just keep it then. Ungrateful.
I'm totally going to do that to my kid if I ever have one.
It's terrible. Poor kid.
Even more Harley Quinn news, but this time Batman the Animated Series, and that is that Joker and Harley Quinn will get an action figure 2-pack that features the Harley Quinn book.
This set includes Harley in a red negligee and Joker in a new deco. This set also includes a paperback edition of Batman Adventures Mad Love.
My favorite of all of the Harley Quinn trade paperbacks. Anytime someone comes into the shop and says, I'm huge on Harley Quinn, what should I get? I immediately go to Mad Love. I'm like, here's the origin. Have you read this before? No? If you like Harley Quinn, you need to read this. It is amazing. And then watch the episode.
So this 2-pack will be $45. Totally worth it. And it will release February 2016.
That is actually a really good price for the 2 figurines. They initially did a first run of these in which Harley Quinn came in her classic jester outfit. And now they're doing one with the red negligee. So if you haven't gotten one, or if you want to collect another Harley Quinn, it is smart of them because people will buy this pack just to get that specific Harley Quinn.
I almost want to buy it just to get the Harley Quinn.
I'm actually going to get this one because we did pass on the first run of those two, but I'm going to get this one. I'm glad we did.
Yeah, this one's better.
If you think you're going to miss out on the classic jester outfit for Harley Quinn, don't forget that Batman the Animated Series, the action figures, will be coming out with a Harley Quinn in the next couple of months. If your local comic shop is at all aware of the popularity of Harley Quinn, they're going to get a bunch of these. So definitely get in there, and if you can't pre-order them, definitely do so because they won't last a month. So that's a way you can get the classic Harley, and then you can get the Mad Love specific Harley Quinn with this pack. February 2016.
So as I mentioned earlier, last week we talked about half of San Diego Comic-Con news. This week we'll be finishing up with the rest.
Yeah, this is part 2 of our San Diego Comic-Con coverage. As we predicted last week, they showed off the awesome trailers the day after
of course
we recorded. We knew this was going to happen, though. Based on our schedule, we needed the episode to be out on time, as always, on Sundays at noon Eastern Time. So for that, we did split up our coverage into 2 episodes. Now we can actually cover some of the bigger stuff that happened at San Diego.
So we're going to start off with what everybody has been waiting for.
And everybody meaning all the hosts at the Reasons I'm Broke podcast.
Yes. Marvel has confirmed that the Unbeatable Squirrel Girl will be back this fall along with a slew of other number ones.
The same creative team, which is Ryan North and Erica Henderson, will be returning on this new number 1 relaunch.
We weren't sure if this was coming back after all the events of Secret Wars, but Marvel, of course, confirmed it at San Diego Comic-Con for us.
Yeah, this was definitely missing in their line of comics that they had shown off in the new number 1s. And we're like, what the hell? That's an awesome book. It's an awesome read. If Howard the Duck comes back, then so should Unbeatable Squirrel Girl. Thankfully it is. We will keep our subscription to it. And so far it's been an awesome comic.
And that's it for our news. Thank you, guys. Oh, wait, there was more that happened at San Diego Comic-Con?
Tons more. I'm sure this is probably one Broquettes have been waiting for, right, everyone? A movie that's coming out. Bruce Timm announced an animated film adaptation, right? This is what they're waiting for?
I'm sure this was the one.
Yeah.
I'm sure this is what broke my internet.
The Killing Joke is in the works for 2016.
Yes!
I know there's that Broquette out there that's like, fuck yes, fuck those other live action movies. It was this one, Killing Joke.
I am so excited. So no further details were given on this upcoming project, but if all of you remember, many a moon ago, our poor retired Joker,
Mark Hamill.
Mr. Mark Hamill, had said that if they ever made a Killing Joke, he would come back to voice the Joker.
He did say this.
He did say this.
He said that's what would bring him out of, quote, retirement.
Yeah, okay.
For like the third or fourth time he's retired.
So, if they don't get Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy to voice this, I don't know what I'll do.
Don't do it. I say don't even do Killing Joke unless you have Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill. There's no point.
They're going to announce somebody else, and then we'll be like, they made a Killing Joke? When did this happen?
Very controversial with the ending. As some people think that that Batman ends up choking the Joker to death. Yeah, that's true. It's the same thing. At the very end, last page, last panel, because the ha-ha-has get cut off, and then you see like 3 or 4 panels of just no noise except for the sirens from the police. I think we had covered this a little while ago. It was Grant Morrison that had brought up that rumor once again about the ending to The Killing Joke. And people were like, that's what happened. It's Grant Morrison. It's like, he didn't even fucking work on the book. It's just some guy's opinion, right? I don't think the Joker, Batman actually ends up choking the Joker. That's my personal opinion, though. And that's what's great about The Killing Joke, is that you can sort of interpret it in very many ways. Mm-hmm. So they're going to have to be very careful as to how they do that scene.
Oh, this is exciting. It's going to be great. If Bruce Timm's on it, and of course we're going to have Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy, because who else is there?
No one else. That's the only Batman and the only Joker that I know of.
So, very, very excited. Glad they announced this. Finally.
All right, Broquettes. Here's more DC news. Robot Chicken.
Yes!
The DC Comics Special 3, Magical Friendship, got a trailer debut.
Oh, I'm so excited. I love Robot Chicken.
That's the trailer they're waiting for.
That's the trailer I was waiting for.
Yeah, Hall H right there.
I didn't even know I was waiting for it until it came out, and then I knew that was what I was waiting for. This will come out fall 2015, and it'll be magical.
It's going to explore the multiverse in the DC universe. So you're going to see different Batman, different Superman, and it sounds like they're just going to have fun with it. You even see the Adam West Batman making an appearance.
They have to put animated series in here.
Hopefully.
They have to do this for me. But the last 2 specials have been so much fun. Sex Luthor was one of my favorite songs.
Good. So good.
Ever. So there's no reason why this won't be just as great.
Continuing with the TV news, WB-TV had a panel here at San Diego Comic-Con.
Mm-hmm. They announced that Livewire and Reactron will be 2 villains who will appear in this fall's Supergirl TV show.
No mentions on casting for these 2 villains, but that means that Livewire's Speculator Comics have gone right back up.
Of course they have.
The reason being, Livewire, like Harley Quinn, made her debut on Superman, on an animated series, although in this case it was Superman the Animated Series, then made her way into the comic book Superman the Animated Series comic book, and finally into the mainstream DC universe before the New 52 through a comic that actually Gail Simone wrote. And for a while that book heated up because Harley Quinn heated up, so they looked at other characters that also debuted in the animated series, and speculators brought those. Prices went back down, and now they're going to go back up once she makes her appearance in the television show.
Livewire is no Harley Quinn, people.
She never will be.
Nope.
No.
No one will ever be Harley Quinn.
That being said, I don't dislike Livewire. I think she's a fun character.
Yeah, I agree, but she's not Harley Quinn. I don't think we will ever find a character in the next 20 years that will blow up as big and as quickly as Harley Quinn did.
All right, if we're still doing the podcast in 20 years, we'll try to remember this.
I'm going to be like 300 pounds in 20 years. So it's not going to be, hey guys, it's going to be like, podcast, Cheetos. That will be me in 20 years, guys. I'm just warning you all now.
It's called aging, also known as dying. I've come to terms with this.
So now we can move on to our Warner Brothers panel, where they released some really great information about a movie that I know we're all waiting for. The Green Lantern movie has officially gotten its title.
Yes, this one is called Green Lantern Corps. That's pretty much a confirmation. One, that Jon Stewart is going to be in the movie. Mm-hmm. Your favorite Green Lantern?
Yes.
Good. Good things.
Woo!
But two, that Tyrese Gibson's Instagram from like a week and a half ago is probably a confirmation that he did get Jon Stewart.
Maybe he's lying.
I'm still going to say it's a confirmation. I'm going to stay on that because he would be the kind of guy that would just jump straight on Twitter or Instagram and be like, hey, look at me, I'm Green Lantern. I think Tyrese is going to be Jon Stewart.
Tweet Kevin Conroy, ask him.
That's true. Kevin Conroy always leaks everything.
Because they called and told him, so he'll spoil it.
I've actually been tempted on asking him about the next Arkham game. I'm going to be like, so how's the recording for the new Arkham going?
You need to ask about the Killing Joke, how the recording's going.
Yes, that's smart. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that right after we record. Absolutely.
So this is exciting. I'm so happy to see Jon Stewart. Whoever they get to play him, I hope that justice is done to this amazing character.
So people wanted Hal Jordan done right on the big screen. Mm-hmm. And people like us who grew up with Justice League, the animated series, our Green Lantern is Jon Stewart. It looks like we're going to get both. So we're going to see both of those on the big screen. Kilowog. I don't know if we're going to see Sinestro, to be honest. I don't know, because they've already done him once, but they did him well.
Yeah, they did him really well. He was the best part of that movie.
So it's like, I want to see Sinestro really badly, and if they do this, either he'll already be a Yellow Lantern, if they do include him, or they're going to try to do his transformation again from a Green Lantern to a Yellow Lantern, which could have been done better. Mm-hmm. And a lot of things could have been done better in that movie, but they could have taken more time with Sinestro. It was really sudden. He had maybe 5 minutes of screen time.
We could have just called it Sinestro.
He could carry his own movie, to be honest. He's
easily
the greatest Green Lantern, of course.
We'll see. I'm not getting my hopes too high.
Is there a particular villain that you want to see the Corps go up against? We're going to see the Green Lanterns before this movie. This movie's, I think, set to release in 2020.
Okay.
So we're going to see them in Justice League Parts 1 and 2 before we even see this.
Oh, man. Who are those guys who are the robots that the Guardians created?
Manhunters.
The Manhunters. I want to see them go against them.
That's probably that's correct. That's probably the Manhunters. It has to be the Manhunters.
Oh, I just told the movie.
Not Aya, though. All right, so
now we can... Aya should be in there, too.
I reminded you about Aya. I didn't even know she existed.
I did know Aya existed. And then we need to see Razor in there, and then it could just be an Aya Razor movie. Screw everybody else. And then it can really be Space Zuko. And then it's like Avatar The Last Airbender in space. This is perfect.
New Brookheads are completely lost. Green Lantern, the animated series, these are characters that debuted on that show that we got really attached to. Loved Green Lantern, the animated series. Only lasted one season, but it was a hell of a season.
It was a great fucking season. Created one of the best love stories of all time. And they just shot it down. Killed it in its prime.
Alright, let's get to the live action trailers.
Nobody wants to hear about these.
All right. We'll skip straight to the comics. Comic book reviews.
We're such assholes.
Suicide Squad got that trailer that we had guessed about last week, and they had to drop something.
Of course they did.
It's it's about a year away now. Mm-hmm. We have to get some kind of teaser. They're still filming Suicide Squad, but we'll touch on that a little bit. What are your thoughts first, as a major Harley Quinn fan?
Yes.
And as a critic of the new Joker look, and not really big on the rest of the characters, except for Amanda Waller.
It's a trailer. Trailers are hardly ever perfect depictions of the movie. So
True.
I'm still holding out to see the movie. I thought the moment with Joker was really terrifying, and I thought he acted well as the Joker.
Jared Leto is excellent. Yes.
I feel that they have over-sexualized Harley.
Okay, let's talk about that. I heard someone else say this at the shop the other day, but this is the Harley Quinn that's currently in the comics. It's not the Harley Quinn that we're used to in the animated series, which was still sexualized, and probably over-sexualized for a cartoon.
The time period, okay, yeah.
But this is a Harley Quinn that directly reflects the one that we see with Amanda and Jimmy Palmiotti on the current comic. Not the exact same look, but it does have the exact same type of actions, although a little bit darker, less silly.
Why do you have to rationalize these things? Why can't I just be unhappy with them?
You can't just be unhappy about it.
Just let me be unhappy.
You can't have nerd rage. That's what I try to argue against all fucking day.
I know. I have to wait and see the movie. Because, of course, they're going to show you what they want to show you.
Exactly.
And they're going to throw so much Harley in there. And, of course, they should throw in Harley pole dancing and licking bars and doing gymnastics. And
yes, they should. That's what sells.
I know, but that's not what I want to see.
And that won't be everything. It's not going to be like that Suicide Squad animated movie.
Oh, that was terrible.
Assault on Arkham.
That was terrible. I had like a hole inside me when that was over. So... still holding out for the movie, of course. Will Smith, I don't see him as anything other than a good guy.
I just see Will Smith when I see him. I'm like, okay,
let's
I know
go do these things. I'm like, yeah, he's gonna get shit done.
Welcome to Earth.
He's
as he punches some fucking guy.
He's gonna like drive into a spaceship at the end.
Amanda Waller, to me, was the highlight of that trailer. Mm-hmm. Viola Davis absolutely nailed the character. I'd like her a little bit bigger, but
well, yes.
you know.
Give her some Cheetos.
But otherwise, she came off as strong, intense. That's the Amanda Waller I wanted. They gave us the reasoning on her using this batch of crazy people.
Right.
In the trailer itself. In the first 10 seconds of the fucking trailer. She says, yeah, they're bad guys. We can blame everything on them. That's Amanda Waller.
And then Will Smith had to walk in. What are we, your Suicide Squad?
That was the silliest part of the whole trailer. Not the Joker, not the Harley Quinn, not Batman or whatever. It was they had to name drop the movie itself.
Of course.
What are we, some kind of task force going into a suicide mission? Task Force Suicide. That's what they should have put out on the big screen. Like,
Task Force Suicide.
Confused everyone. Like, not Task Force X, not Suicide Squad. Put them together. Task Force Suicide.
Can it be called, like, the Suicide Squad of Bel-Air?
The Suicide Force, maybe?
The Fresh Prince of Suicide Squad.
That's fine, too.
Okay.
I would have accepted that, too.
Okay.
But then you would have had to have a theme song at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Good luck changing the lyrics to that.
Oh, no, I will. You give me an episode and I will have the lyrics changed, sir.
Okay, next week.
Fine.
We're doing that.
It'll be done. But Will Smith has to dress as the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air through this whole movie.
With a mask.
With a mask, that's fine. And
yes.
he can still be assassinating people. But he needs, like, those bright clothes. Sideways hat.
Done. So now that we saw the Joker, if you paid really close attention to it, you see that the Joker, at the very end when he's actually torturing someone, it is Harleen Quinzel. Mm-hmm. So the origin of Harley is already different than what we saw in Mad Love.
Yes, maybe.
Well, in Mad Love, we saw that. You're right. It could still. This could just be an expansion to what ended up happening in Mad Love, but. In Mad Love, she's a psychiatrist, and she studies the Joker and is initially trying to make a big name for herself by studying the most dangerous Arkham inmate. So she goes right straight into Joker. The Joker surprises her by being incredibly warm and sympathetic, and that's what ends up connecting her to the Joker, and that's where he slowly ends up twisting her mind, and that's when you see that he ends up being the one taking notes on her, and she's the crazy one, and it was amazing. Mm-hmm. Just what Paul Dini and Bruce Timm did with that origin was phenomenal. And this is a much more twisted version. She's being tied down or strapped down to a table, and what looks like I don't know if they're like shockers on his hands.
Yeah, it's what you use for shock therapy.
And that's what I guess he uses in a Harleen, and I don't know if that's going to be like an opening scene or just a little flashback. I don't know how they're going to get the white skin on her. I hope it's just makeup like in the animated series. I think that'd be awesome, but who knows? I have no idea.
We'll see. I wouldn't completely rule out the idea of him, like her falling in love with him and starting to go crazy. Mm-hmm. Because how did she let him get to this point where he could strap her down on a table? Like, I get she's probably still fighting it, but he had to get close enough.
From some of the scenes that we've come across, actual paparazzi's getting all these images. And that's that Harleen at one point, the Joker just drives up in his pink car and she's pointing the gun at him. So it's not that I don't think he's in Arkham at all. I think he's out running loose, and somehow her and Harley made some kind of connection at some point. I don't know. I think it's gonna be way different than even the New 52 origin, which was sort of similar, except she gets pushed into acid just like the Joker. We're not too big on Harley Quinn's origin in the New 52, but we do like the book from Jimmy and Amanda, and this is going to be something completely different. I still think Amanda Waller is going to steal the show personally for me. And then as far as the Joker, I think you and I will get over the fact that he does look a little bit silly as far as all the tattoos and all that stuff. The performance itself seemed pretty strong.
So we did have a response from our Twitter follower at the Irish on Fire, who said, "I enjoy how she's," referring to Harley Quinn, "being portrayed. Her look I just can't get my head around. I'm worried Joker and her will steal the show. Croc looks incredible. Real world deformity."
Yes, very important. Croc actually looked way better than the images that we saw. And we did talk about this, how some of these characters, some of these costumes will look better when you see it in motion.
Right.
When you just get some far off shots, it's not with the right lighting, it's not with post-production. And it looks like they took the prosthetics that Croc had and they added some computer on top of that, because if you look closely, the skin is actually shining just like a real living creature, and then the eyes, the way the skin moves, all looks amazing. I was very, very impressed by Killer Croc.
Me too. I think we still have a lot more we need to see from this movie, though. Hopefully we probably won't get another trailer for a while, but definitely not going to judge this until we see the full thing.
Real quick, do you think it'd be a mistake to focus too much on Harley Quinn and the Joker?
From my perspective, yes, because I do appreciate the other characters. From the average viewer, no, because they're going there to see Harley Quinn and Joker because those are the names that they recognize.
I think at the end of the day, we won't see more than 10 minutes of screen time, probably less, probably no more than 5 minutes of screen time from both Batman and the Joker, because we know they will make an appearance in these movies. The focus will obviously be on the Suicide Squad and Amanda Waller. You have to market it as if the Joker and Harley Quinn are going to be all throughout the movie, because that's where the money is. That's where the merchandise is going to be. If they're going to change outfits on Harley Quinn and the Joker, which they should, they can create different action figures for each one of those. That's just what you have to do to make money for after the movie comes out. It just can't be box office sales. So yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about those two being the sole focus. Yes, they will steal the show. We know that's going to happen.
Of course.
The Joker and Harley are not going to stand up next to Killer Croc and Deadshot. Let's be honest. They're the most fascinating, interesting characters in this movie. And that's okay. Like you said, that's why people are coming to see the movie. Joker has to be in this because with Harley Quinn, you can't have Harley without the Joker. Right. Not as interesting. So either way, we'll wait. Give it time. It's only the first trailer. Whether you liked it or not, I think reaction so far has been more positive than negative.
Now the trailer that everybody's talking about. Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice.
This fucking trailer kicked absolute ass. And I loved the first one too. Like that first teaser, I gave you so much of the plot, but this one gave you just kind of an overload of like plot, action, cinematic scenes.
Seeing more characters.
Even more characters, yeah. And it's still left enough to where people went, what is that? What does that mean? I need to see this so I can see the movie and find out what happens. Why is Zod in this? Like, all of that is in there. And it absolutely worked. It was the ideal trailer for what you wanted to show at Comic-Con, and people are absolutely excited. You're seeing comments from people saying, okay, now I'm convinced that Ben Affleck can do Batman. And I was like, of course you... Fucking 2 years ago when we talked about this, we said that when this came out, people would immediately flip-flop and say, I've always liked Ben Affleck. I thought he was always great. Then you can go back to that episode, Brokeheads, and listen to it. It said Batfleck. I remain neutral to the whole thing because of the Heath Ledger thing. I'm like, I was wrong about Heath Ledger, and that ended up kicking ass. You were a little bit more negative on Ben Affleck. But looking back on it now, what is this, a year and a half later, kick-ass trailer, people are on board for Batman v Superman.
Of course they are. This, like you said, was a great trailer. We got to see so much Batman. Just so much Batman.
Yes.
And that made me so happy. But it still left so many questions, and there were all these little Easter eggs, all these little nods to other things. It was perfect.
The one thing I was most, I guess, worried about was how Affleck would actually do or try to pull off Bruce Wayne. Not too worried about the Batman part of it. It's Bruce Wayne, because when you saw Christian Bale, his Bruce Wayne was amazing.
Yeah.
And he really nailed it because it was essentially his character from American Psycho, but not as crazy. And I love that movie. So when I saw Ben Affleck in the Batman v Superman trailer, and you see him speak as Bruce Wayne, you see him speak as Batman, you see the tired Batman character that he is and how he has to be forced to come back into the cowl after whatever forced him to get out of it. And we may know maybe it's because of the Robin outfit that we saw a little sneak peek of in that trailer with the Joker writing all over it, which I'm assuming is Jason Todd. Maybe that's what actually got him out of the Batman role. But because of the tragedy in Metropolis that personally affected Bruce Wayne, as we see at the very beginning of the trailer, he's talking to someone on the phone in that building with Zod and Superman from Man of Steel who has to die because something has to bring him out of it. Maybe not just one person, maybe different workers from Wayne Industries. That is going to force the Batman to go up against Superman. That's already your catalyst. Right there, you have a movie immediately. And they were smart in taking the tragedy of Man of Steel, all that destruction, a huge criticism from a lot of viewers, and making it into a plot point in Batman v Superman. I don't think it was intentional from the beginning, like, this is what we're going to do. They're like, okay, so how do we sort of fix this and make this into a plot point?
Well, and that's super smart, too, because it's so easy, to say... Because now, yes, it's the plot of their movie, but they're also saying, yeah, this was bad. See, people think it's bad, too, so they're gonna try and stop him, because it's bad.
The government stopping him? Fucking Batman stopping him? Wonder Woman, possibly? We don't know.
Lex Luthor? Probably.
Oh, of course, Lex Luthor.
Exactly.
He's going to come up with some kind of weapon to try to stop Superman or anyone like Superman.
A weapon of doom?
A weapon that may get out of control and unite a team of justice.
One day.
Yeah, someday. Or maybe at the end of the movie.
Doom.
Yeah, we shall see. That's all speculation, of course. We haven't seen the movie. Although if we did...
we wouldn't tell you. We would so tell you.
Oh yeah, we would absolutely tell you.
We'd be like, we saw it.
But then Warner Brothers would you wouldn't be hearing this podcast right now. As we know, Warner Brothers gets rid of people like that.
We'd be dead. We'd be in a ditch somewhere, like...
Some one last episode of us like, oh, we're retiring the podcast as we're getting like poked, like, oh shit. They just edit those parts out. They're like, wow, that podcast ended really abruptly. That was weird.
Hey guys, we saw it and our podcast is over. Thank you all so much for all your support, but we just cannot continue.
So let's talk about all the little things. So I already mentioned the Robin outfit. Was that huge for you too?
That was, because the first time I watched, I didn't realize it was a Robin outfit because the R is kind of the same color, so it was kind of subtle, so it just looked like a costume that Joker had written on, and then you came home and you're like, I've watched this 14 times, let's watch it again. And you pointed it out to me, and that I think was really, really smart, because it is a great reason for Batman to retire.
Yes.
That gives you, it's an Easter egg for people who know Batman's history, but it's also very relatable for people who don't really know Batman's history. So they come in with this story, he retired because this happened to Jason Todd, and people are like, oh shit, yeah. No, I got you. Good job, Batman. Like, that's what you should have done. Mm-hmm.
And that's going even to where Batman got this note of, you let your family die, referring, I'm assuming, to the Wayne Industries family in that building, but it reflects onto the Robin that he lost, who he views as a family member. And he's like, shit, I've lost someone again, all because of this alien, and I must stop him so that no one else like him comes back to Earth.
Right.
It's amazing. Like, that's exactly what you need to do when you've got your conflict, and probably the fight that we'll see in the middle of the movie. We don't know.
Like, 15 minutes in, please. Come on.
Well, not that soon. It's going to be halfway through the movie, and then we'll see the real villain or whatever. It has to do with Lex Luthor. And the rest of the whatever other members, I guess Aquaman will make some kind of cameo in this. We didn't see him at all in the trailer. At least I didn't spot him. We did get one underwater scene, but we didn't actually get a shot of Jason Momoa as Aquaman.
So it's not you as Aquaman?
No, it's not. I'm still waiting for that call. If they ever want to call me, and I will gladly fill in. I'll just need your help. About half an hour of makeup.
Coloring on you with an expo marker?
Yep. That's what we'll need.
Making your little tinfoil trident.
Hey, just some post-production work. That's all they need to clean up the image. I will step right in for Jason.
That's good to know. I'll make sure that they're aware of that.
I've tweeted them. I've tweeted them already.
Guys, I'm ready.
Like, I know the movie's done, but you've got Aquaman coming. I'll fill in for that. Justice League 1 and 2. You haven't filmed those. I'll jump in for that.
I'm much cheaper than Jason.
This Aquaman got much shorter in this scene. And much browner.
It's perfect. Love it. So another Easter egg that they threw in there also was from Batman The Dark Knight Returns.
Book 1 of the Dark Knight Returns cover. We've seen it in animated format too, of Batman jumping and then you get the lightning bolt right behind them. Iconic. You see it in comics even today, where they'll reference that panel and with their characters. Absolutely awesome. And we saw it in the trailer.
Yeah. They were real sneaky about it. They're like, oh, he's grappling, but there's lightning.
Yeah, he's grappling, and he does the pose, and then he churns and grapples away as a red beam almost hits where he was. I don't think it was Superman, because maybe that would have killed him, I don't know. But they cut it in a way where it seems like Superman, even though they're in different locations, different times. If you look at the skies, like, that's slightly more daytime, this one's nighttime. But they cut it in a way where it looks like Superman shot at Batman, and then he grapples off. But yeah, they did recreate that cover. I was completely satisfied with that. I did not expect them to even put that in there. Sure, he's not fucking jumping. Who gives a shit? He does the pose and it's done. Like, you're not going to see Ben Affleck actually jump forward with his little hands out.
Who's going to jump like that? I would never jump like that.
Great Easter egg. I loved it. And they included it in the trailer, too. I don't think I would have caught it if I was just watching the movie. Right. Because I would have been so invested, like, oh my god, what's happening?
Afterwards, you might have been like, wait, did that happen? Was that a dream?
Yeah, it wouldn't have been as obvious, but now people... Speaking of connections, people have actually taken the footage from Man of Steel and connected them with
you showed me
the trailer. Right.
That's amazing. So you see in the trailer, Bruce Wayne is, of course, on the phone, stops because he sees, like, laser beams, laser eye beams,
the heat
whatever.
Vision, yeah,
come through a building and, of course, destroy it. And if you compare that to Man of Steel, when Zod is in that same building, it's exactly the same where his eye movements go, where the lasers go, in comparison to this movie. I mean, of course, they had to make that happen, but it is amazing to see that comparison.
Yeah, and I've seen some people like, oh, I'm gonna see Man of Steel, maybe Bruce Wayne. No, he's not fucking in there. Like,
of course he's not. They came up with this after that movie did well.
But it's awesome that they tried to connect them like that.
Right.
And it does match up exactly, like you said, with Man of Steel. And it's just great care in trying to connect those films together.
I want that one person to be like, no, look, there he is, and he's actually in there. Then what are you going to do?
Like, oh shit, well fuck me then. I think that's going to be the opening scene to the movie. The tragedy of Metropolis.
I could see that.
Oh, I can't wait. All right, so let's hear about you, Brocats. We do have some questions, we do have some thoughts, and some of which still connect to actually Suicide Squad because of the same character, that being Batman. First question comes from at Podcast Pasco. That is David from the 52 Now podcast, who asks, what do you think of Jesse Eisenberg's portrayal of Lex Luthor?
You go first.
It's a very different Lex Luthor than what we're used to. I think Jesse's gonna try to make it his own, something brand new, and that's okay. That's fine. We've only seen so many portrayals of Lex in films, and none of them have stood out as like, oh yeah, Lex is definitely Kevin Spacey or whoever. So I think by doing something more memorable, something a little bit more cartoony, will cement him more as like, oh yeah, that was Lex Luthor. He was a little goofy, or he was a little bit more sort of like the Joker, or maybe Superman's Joker. I don't know. I've heard different descriptions of what people thought of his performance. I was okay with it. I think we're just seeing highlights of it. I think he's a little bit too weak. I wanted to see a little bit of a stronger Lex Luthor. But again, this isn't one that we're familiar with, so it's going to be something new. Until we see the movie, we won't know. But in summary, I just wanted something a little bit stronger, which we could still get. This is just a trailer.
I agree with all of that. You speak about him being stronger. I also wanted to see Amy Adams be stronger as Lois Lane. And that never really happened.
That's true.
So that is a little worrisome. Some of the things that bother me, he has hair.
He'll lose it. We saw that image.
I hope he loses it. And at the very end where he's saying the red capes are coming, he sounds crazy. Does that make sense? Like, I like my Luthor very calculated and kind of overcome with his drive to kill Superman, that he overlooks everything else, but he's not really crazy in that drive. He's crazed in that drive, but not crazy.
So you wanted to see more of like the Social Network, Jesse Eisenberg.
Yes.
And less of what we ended up getting.
Yes. Again, we need to wait till the movie's done because that is 3 lines in the movie. That is not his whole performance.
Right.
And like you said, he will probably create his own Lex Luthor, and yes, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's not necessarily the Luthor that I wanted to see thus far.
And before we move on to the next question about Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, saving it, Wonder Woman.
Yes.
Absolutely blew up on the internet. People adore this Wonder Woman.
Now they do.
Now she's not too skinny, right?
Nope.
Now her comments I heard, now her boobs are too small. It's like, that's what you're fucking focusing on? I remember these comments. It was crazy. But now people are absolutely loving Wonder Woman.
Well, that's good.
They feel like they didn't get enough of her in the trailer, and that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think she's going to be in a ton of the movie, but definitely way more than Aquaman that we're going to see. Maybe as much as we see Lex Luthor, because we do see her in civilian clothing. We do see her in her classic Wonder Woman outfit and some kind of final battle scene near the end of the movie, I'm sure.
On a day of doom?
Some do, yeah, I think. Right.
Interesting.
And she's got the shield, she's got the sword, she looks amazing. I think she's awesome. She looks like she's going to be as strong as Superman. And if not stronger, I don't know. I don't know what kind of Wonder Woman they're doing here, but it was absolutely great to see her on the big screen or in a trailer. We're going to see her in theaters.
Right. Yeah, very, very excited. I think Wonder Woman's not one of my favorite characters, so when they're like, she's going to be in this movie, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. But seeing her, yeah, it definitely does bring up the excitement more, and I'm glad people got over their whole judgy body comments.
Yeah, no one said that about any of the other actors in this
Yeah,
movie at
nobody was like, oh man, Bruce Wayne looks a little Tubbins in that suit. I'm like, yeah, they probably should have gotten him a bigger size. Done some sit-ups or something.
Alright, so next question. This one's also from Twitter, at ACMore2012, who asked, what are your thoughts about the internet talking about Jason Todd being in the movie?
Ooh. I don't think he will be in the movie.
I agree.
I think perhaps when we get to our Batman solo movie, there is a possibility that he could be in that movie.
Could be the Red Hood as the villain in that Batman
or
movie.
even if it has a flashback to Jason Todd.
You think they're planting the seeds now for that Batman solo movie?
You know, I'm going to be honest, I really don't think that that's what that movie's going to be about. I think that's a great story, but I feel that we've seen that story a lot, and they're probably going to want to try and go with something different.
Would it not be smart, though, for them to go with that? Just to connect it all from the beginning? Because this is going to kick off their DC movie. Say what you will about Man of Steel, this is going to be the one.
Right. No, I agree. You know, I don't know. I don't think I want to see that story told again. I think it'd be great if they did it, but I think the fact that we're seeing what we assume is Jason Todd's costume in this trailer, I think that's just kind of for the hardcore fans. It gives Batman a great reason to have retired, but it also makes us excited because we know that story, so now we feel more for Batman. I don't think if they play that right in this movie, I don't think there's any need to rehash it and give us an entire movie of that story.
Makes sense. I do want to point out a theory that actually at the Irish on Fire sent over to me on Twitter, and it's just a theory. It's a fun thing. I don't think it's true, but one that maybe the Joker from Suicide Squad, the one that we're going to see in the cinematic universe, is Jason Todd. After he got tortured and the real Joker's dead, like in the Dark Knight Returns book, Batman killed him a long time ago, and the new Joker is Jason Todd. He went nuts, and that's why he has the damage tattoo across his forehead. Haha, the joke's on you, on the Robin outfit. I don't know what that look is. Are you excited?
What do people smoke when they think of these things? I love it. It's amazing. That is so... I don't think that's the truth, but that's so cool.
It's a neat theory. Very neat theory.
I mean, somebody make a fan fiction about this. I love it. I will read it.
It reminded me of Batman Beyond Return of the Joker, in which Tim Drake became the Joker in the future.
Yeah, that was, like, weird, though.
It was the same exact thing.
Except his body changed.
Well, you have to make it work, you know?
Okay, whatever. I mean, that would be so cool, but I don't think that's what it is.
It is a cool idea, though.
But yeah. I think my mind is blown just a little bit right now. That's it for the podcast for me, guys. I gotta go...
Think about some things.
Write some fan fiction or something.
You could write that fantasy screenplay. In the meantime, we do have another question from Twitter. This one's from @QBandSlim.
how important or how much meaning will it hold for WB/DC to put Batfleck in Suicide Squad, which is confirmed, of course, and will it help or hurt the cause given Batfleck is such a big character? Marvel hasn't really done this unless you count the 10-second scenes after the credits. Thoughts?
Good thing.
Yeah.
It's obviously a good thing. Months after Batman v Superman will have released, you have Suicide Squad, and you already have a character from that film.
Yeah, I think it's a great thing. It ties everything together, too. This is really them saying, this is the same universe.
Yeah, exactly. Like, how else could you tell it other than... I mean, Amanda Waller mentions Superman in the trailer. They could maybe mention, like, the tragedy in Metropolis or whatever it ends up being.
Right.
But the fact that they have an actual character coming after the Joker, that being Batman...
Who could be Jason Todd.
I think it's a great thing, and I think it's important for audience members as well to already see, oh shit, Batman's already back, like, 5 months later in the Suicide Squad film.
You're gonna roll over and I'm just gonna be staring at the ceiling in the middle of the night like, my life is a lie.
Joke's on you, Kelly.
Jason Todd's the Joker. It's gonna be the Twilight Zone. It's perfect.
Joker Todd.
Hashtag Joker Todd. Put it everywhere. Put it everywhere.
It would already be a better Jason Todd because we already like, he's lame.
Yeah, because Jason Todd's just like, it'd be a really whiny Joker.
That's true.
Why'd you let me become this Batman? Shut up, Joker.
You did that yourself, Robin.
I'm not Robin. I'm the Joker. Okay, Robin.
Well, you're not very funny. Alfred's Alfred's a better Joker than you, Jason. No! Like, that would lose his fucking... He'd lose it. Absolutely lose it.
I need Alfred to come out, like, in Joker face paint, though, but with his very serious expression, and, like, serve them sandwiches.
Indeed.
Ha ha. This is perfect.
So what about you? Any other thoughts on Batfleck and Suicide Squad?
Nah, I think it's smart. He'll be in there for, like, 2 seconds. He's gonna jump on a car, try and stop them.
Yeah, I think his filming was only for about a week.
Yeah, and then he's gonna, like, jump away.
Yep.
That'll be it.
And we have a final thought by Twitter user @TheIrishOnFire who said, quote, "I'm starting by watching Man of Steel right now. Hashtag enough said."
Just as excited as we are, I don't think I'll watch Man of Steel that many times, though.
I'll definitely watch it right before
Yeah.
Batman v Superman. And I have seen it since. We bought it on Blu-ray, I want to say about 4 or 5 months ago. And I've seen it 3 times since then.
Oh, wow, that's more than me. I think I watched it halfway through and then I fell asleep.
It was an okay movie. Yeah.
I enjoyed it. But you always put on these movies like when I'm falling asleep, and I can't stay awake. Your fault.
We'll watch it one early afternoon.
Good. I'll probably still fall asleep. That's my nap time.
So that was our part 2 of San Diego Comic-Con. If you want to share any more thoughts on this, on any of the trailers, you know where to find us. You can also head on over to nerdupmedia.com for a link to all of our social networking websites and users and all of that.
And now we can move into our comic book pull list of the week, where we have picks and passes, and Dan thinks he knows me, but he never does.
First review will come for Adventure Time, Fiona and Cake Card Wars, number 1 of 6. This one's written by Jen Wang and colors by Britt Wilson.
I loved this comic. I thought it was so cute, and it appealed to the nerd in me.
Card Wars is an actual game that it debuted on the cartoon first, regular Adventure Time. Then they made it into a card game that you can actually buy at your local comic shop or local gaming shop right now if you wanted to, including the expansions. And then they put it into a comic book, which is this Fiona and Cake comic.
It was super cute. I related a lot with Fiona because she's playing this card game against Cake and she loses and she's just like, I'm never playing this game again, and that's exactly what I do.
Well, that's because Fiona uses the cute characters instead of actually strategizing on how you actually play.
I'm just like, attack, attack, attack.
That is how you play.
That's how I play. And sometimes I win and most of the time I lose.
Did we see an appearance from Ice King in this?
Yeah, he was in the very beginning.
Not Ice Queen.
Correct. It was Ice King.
I was a little confused by that.
Yes. Well, because he writes the story of Fiona and Cake.
Oh, that's true. All right, of
Fiona
course.
and Cake doesn't exist without Ice King. So it opens with Ice King playing this card game against Gunther, and Gunther's just eating the cards because
he's a penguin.
He's a penguin. What else is he going to do? And he's like, oh, if only someone could see me play, they'd want to marry me. And then we jump right into the story of Fiona and Cake playing this game. But we get to see Lumpy's Space Prince, who is exactly like Lumpy Space Princess, but with a mustache. And we get to see some slug nerds, which are adorable too.
Yeah, great comic. Absolutely. And it comes with a card. I think it's exclusive. I don't own the Card Wars game, but I believe it is exclusive to... you can only get it by getting this comic. So that's a nice little feature. Comes in a poly bag. Absolutely awesome. Great comic.
Our next book is Giant Days, number 5 of 12. This is written by John Allison with art by Lisa Trayman, and the colorist is Whitney Kogar.
I almost felt like this one was the original ending to the miniseries that Giant Days was.
Because I felt like the last 2 panels were just kind of tacked on.
Yeah, a little bit. Like, oh, here's the next arc, and that's where it started it. Exactly. I think it was originally 6 issues, not 12. So maybe they kind of condensed the original 5 and 6 into just this 5.
I can see that also.
But it was still great. Like, I didn't think it was rushed. I didn't feel lost in what all was happening. They still took their time with the dance and with people getting drunk and with the characters having their hearts further broken, and some of the other ones actually building or rekindling a relationship. So yeah, there was a lot of that, a lot of character progression. One of my favorite books out there, and I really do wish it was an ongoing. Yeah, but I'm happy that we're getting more.
Hopefully by the end of number 12 it will be. I hope enough people pick this up. I do really, really enjoy it. If you're looking for something that's new and refreshing and still so much fun and has characters that you can really jump on board with, this is definitely a book that you should look into.
Yeah, definitely my runner-up for Pick of the Week, but not quite there. Next one is Lumberjanes number 12, written by Shannon Waters and Noelle Stevenson, art by Brooke Allen, and colors by Marta Liho.
I feel like we're in the second to last issue of this arc. We're very close to the end. Shit went down in the end. Not my favorite arc, still better than some others that we've had. But this was mostly just a filler issue. This is what happened in the past. Here's how you're moving forward.
And now we're going to get the rest in next month's issue. That's exactly what it was. It was absolutely a setup issue, which I felt we needed for this character, which ended up being really interesting. An ex-Lumberjane from years ago. So, really fun arc. Still enjoying the comic.
Our next book is Silver Surfer, number 13. This is written by Dan Slott with art by Michael Allred, and the colorist is Laura Allred.
Our only Marvel book this week. It is a Secret Wars tie-in, and that if you haven't been keeping up with Secret Wars, we know that the different multiverses in the Marvel universes are coming to an end, and we saw that kick off with the Earth 616 come together with the Ultimate Universe. So many characters died forever, and others are being put together in this battle world where Doctor Doom rules, and I guess for the better, according to some readers' opinion. I'm not sure. Depends on how you view Doom. But Silver Surfer, who is able to transcend these wars and these planets, is now being affected by existence coming to an end, and future and the past is around him, and this is all a little bit confusing, but I felt like Dan Slott did a good job in kind of maneuvering his way through what Secret Wars ended up doing, or what they are doing right now with the Marvel Universe.
I feel it is very unfortunate that they had to tie in Secret Wars to begin with, because anybody who has listened to previous episodes, my opinion on Secret Wars is who cares? I don't particularly care about what's happening in the Marvel Universe, and I'm sad that one of my favorite stories had to be affected by it, because it started out great. We're on this little journey, we're getting to know each other, we're just getting to the point where you feel like they're about to admit how they feel for one another, and Dawn's just going to be like, screw it, who cares about going back to Earth? Let's just surf the universe forever, which is what she should say.
Which is what you want, yeah.
Which is what I want. Instead of saying, well, let's take the long way home. I'm like, no, Dawn, just say you're not leaving. Just say you want to stay forever and sometimes go visit Earth. That's all you should say. But no, she's got to be all cryptic and woman-like. But unfortunately, that cuteness that we had in the beginning had to be stopped by, hurry, run, surfer, run! And he just ran. I was confused. And then we ran into Secret Wars stuff.
Yeah, I can't wait for the series to return once Marvel does their reboot. And I feel like that's when he'll be like, okay, are we done with that main event? All right, can I get back to this? So that's what we'll go for. But until then, we'll endure. And hopefully Dan Slott is as graceful as he was with issue number 13 and getting through that.
Agreed.
Moving on forward, it's all of our DC comics. We've got 5 DC books this week. Kicking it off with my pass of the week, and that is Black Canary number 2, written by Brendan Fletcher, art by Annie Wu, and colors by Lee Luffridge.
Wow, because you really liked the first issue.
Yeah, this is one of the biggest flip-flops since the new DCU universe or relaunch, whatever you want to call it. Because I really liked number 1, and the number 2 was something like, what the hell happened?
See, and I like number 2 more than I like number 1.
Okay, tell us what you liked about this second issue.
I thought it told a better story. I cared more about the characters because I guess now they're actually doing something. Where... I don't know. I just like this. Number 1 was such a letdown for me because they didn't make me connect with anybody. And I felt like this one did a little bit of a better job.
That's true.
She's teaching her friends and they're trying to work together. And they're like, oh, what's the reason for this? Like, it's not for you. It's for this girl that we're trying to take care of. And you really understand that they feel for her in this. And then, I don't know, you got that random lady who ran away, so... whatever. It's still not my favorite book. It's definitely on the chopping block for me because 2 issues in and it hasn't done anything to really keep me invested. Mm-hmm. But I think it was still better than number 1.
We'll give it one more issue. I think you and I feel safe in being like, okay, well, let's see how number 3 is, and if it doesn't blow us away, it could be one we can drop because we are getting a lot of books as it is. But who knows? Maybe number 3 will be the one that actually is like, okay, now I get it. Like, now I see where they're going for. And I do want this team to hit this stride because it is a very indie-feeling comic in the DC universe.
Our next book is Harley Quinn number 18. This is written by Amanda Connor and Jimmy Palmiotti with art by Chad Hardin and Jed Daughtry. And the colorist is Alex Sinclair and Hi-Fi. Yeah, Hi-Fi!
Well done, Heafy. So this one, I actually like this one more than number 17.
Yeah.
And I like 17. I like this whole Harley Quinn series has been great. And I especially love when they get a guest artist on the comic.
Yes.
I feel a little bad to Chad Hardin because I'm like, all right, this art is... I wish that art was the book all the time.
I don't.
I appreciate Chad Hardin. He's a great artist, but his tone is a little bit too dark for what this Harley Quinn book is, what the series is.
This is actually my pick of the week.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Very good pick.
I loved this book. We get this... we're continuing where we had last week with this weirdo Popeye character. But the moment that made this book for me is when Harley eats the cray-cray seaweed and sees this amazing pirate fantasy. And I went, yes, Harley, I wish to live in your pirate fantasy too. Because you have... Tentacle Hair Batman and Joker and Mermaid Ivy and that whole page with Joker and Harley, it was perfect, and I loved all her costumes. I'm like, I want to be Pirate Harley. It was wonderful. It was so much fun, and I'm finally getting to the point where I'm enjoying all her sidekicks.
Just a fun comic, and we're getting used to the Harley Squad, which I already enjoyed in the first place, especially if you read the Plastic Man Convergence issue number 2. You got a bigger introduction to some of the other squad members. So, yeah, it's an awesome comic. If you like Harley Quinn, you should be picking up this series. Next, we move on to my pick of the week, which is Justice League number 42. That is written by Jeff Johns, art by Jason Fabok, and colors by Brad Anderson. This is the Darkseid War, Part 2. I guess what I would call the main DC event for the DC Universe right now. That is the war between Darkseid and the Anti-Monitor, with the Justice League caught in between.
For me, this book was okay. Yeah, stuff happened in the middle, but then the ending happened.
Right, exactly. If you're a big Batman fan, it's absolutely the book for you. And I can almost hear the criticism right now, like, oh, Batman, that's what he ends up doing? Yes, that's what he fucking ends up doing.
What else would Batman do?
He
just goes, I got this. And that's what he does.
And he's got this.
Yeah.
Like, what would you expect him to not have this? That's fucking Batman. He runs the Justice League. He figures out what the problem is, and he fucking solves it. What's the problem?
He runs the Justice League, and he's only a part-timer.
Yeah.
Like, he's like a part-time manager, but he's the only manager.
Right. Gotham is his priority.
Yeah.
But when these clowns can't do it on their own, Batman has to come in and save the day.
Which they can never do it on their own, so
no,
please,
you need Batman. Yeah, I mean, I'd happy to be his clown. That's fine. I'd be like, yeah, I'm the Justice League member. Let's do this, Batman. What should we do? How should I use my superpower? Tell me, Batman, because you're the strategist.
Yes, because I have no idea how to use my powers.
More importantly, though, on a more serious note, you do get more backstory on Darkseid's daughter, and on I think that was her mother as well. that we saw a little bit earlier too, or at least who was actually propelling this conflict between Darkseid and the Anti-Monitor.
Yes. Agreed. So definitely backstory. The winning moment for me was Batman. I'm sorry. That's the only reason you should pick up this comic. And you want to know what the answer to that question was that he asked?
You're going to say Jason Todd.
Yeah, I am. I'm going to say Jason Todd. I'm so excited.
Darkseid War is very entertaining so far. If you count the epilogue, that's technically 3 parts, but this is officially part 2, and we're hooked.
Yep. Our next book, which is also an excellent book, Robin, Son of Batman, #2. This is written and has pencils by Patrick Gleason. The colorist is John Cleese and Jeremy Cox.
Now we get the reasoning as to why Robin, Damian Wayne, is going through all of these trials and going back and trying to right his wrongs from the past. And I think it's a great premise. They are exploring Damian's past while also trying to redeem him for his past. Like, we know initially when Grant Morrison created him, he was a little shit. He was evil. He was the evilest Robin that we've gotten.
And we love him for it.
And then Peter J. Tomasi and crew got on and we're like, this guy's awesome. This fucking Damian Wayne is amazing. And we're continuing with that. And now that Damian, Son of Batman, is trying to do right and do justice to the world that, in the past he did some awful shit and now he's trying to fix it. So they can go with this comic forever if they wanted to, because there's so much shit I'm sure Damian did. And you get an appearance from Talia as well.
But like you said, it's absolutely a great premise. This issue itself, too much supernatural in it for me.
Okay.
I think there is a lot of supernatural that does surround Damian because, of course, you have the Lazarus Pit and the whole Al Ghul family. So I let it slide. But it was a cute, fun story. It's nice seeing Damian try to do good, and I'm sure there will be some humor along the way. We also finally get the character that's kind of been following him.
The new nobody.
Yeah, the new nobody. She finally reveals herself, and I think this is going to be a companion for him throughout his journey, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
And the love story, as we predicted in the first issue.
Yes.
Final book this week is Secret Six #4, written by Gail Simone, art by Ken Lashley and Tom Derenick, with colors by Jason Wright.
I am still in love with all of these characters. I think they're so much fun. They each have their flaws and things that I can relate to, and they interact really well together. You can definitely tell that they care about each other.
Yes. I
don't think the story is as strong as it could be. I feel there's a lot of running in circles.
I think the problem, and what you're referring to, is with the 4th issue, we went backwards.
Right.
And we already know that they're going to be fine because we saw in issue 3 that, they go up against that dog guy and, that was all fine and well. But for this one, we find out that the character that actually locked them up initially that we saw in issue #1 wants them back and is hiring different people to get the Secret Six back. I think what's adorable about this is the way Gail Simone is handling the newer characters, not necessarily Catman, because Catman I don't think is meant to be a humorous guy, but Strix is absolutely adorable. Still the exact same character we saw in that Batgirl annual, and even more so in this one because she's like, yeah, I'm still fucking deadly. I will kill you if you go after my friends or whoever.
Right.
But she's still like, I'm hungry. I want cookies.
I was eating cookies. I'm sorry. A character I really, really love too is Porcelain.
It's funny that you say that. Go ahead and continue with that. But I do have some news for you.
Yeah, I like news. So, yeah, I really like this character. There's so much that you can do with her or him. I don't know. It's a great character. I feel like there's such a dramatic backstory that we're going to find out about. And I would love to see a one-shot just about Porcelain.
So Gail Simone actually on Tumblr did end up saying that Porcelain is actually her favorite character from the Secret Six.
That's awesome.
And that's because of her origin story, which she is going to tell very soon.
Yes. I can't wait. That's so exciting. Why are you just telling me about this now?
Oh, the listeners got to hear your excitement when I tell you this.
Well, I mean, but I would still be equally excited hearing about it now or like when you found out the news.
Oh, Broquettes are going to appreciate the live action me breaking news to you.
I don't appreciate that.
But they do, and that's
just
what's
tell
important.
me news when you find out. Guys, tweet us at Reasons I'm Broke. # Dan Tell Kelly News.
So many do. A lot of them are like, oh, did you see the new Suicide Squad trailer? And I'm like, yeah.
No. Not them telling you news. You tell me news.
All right,
when
I'll
you
tell
find
you
out.
news. I'll tell you news.
Right away when you find out.
If I remember. Like
No,
right
no,
now,
no.
you reminded me about porcelain, so I told you. So there you go. And I didn't even know you like porcelain like that. So that will actually do it for our comic book reviews for the week. My pick of the week was Justice League number 42.
My pick of the week was Harley Quinn number 18.
And my pass of the week was Black Canary number 2.
And I did not have a pass of the week.
If you want to support us, Brokettes, don't forget to head on over to nerdupmedia.com/shop. You can check out one of the Nerd Up Media t-shirts that we have on there, ranging from red, black, gray, blue, and the brand new color pink.
They come in a variety of different sizes, both men and women, and they can be yours for just a donation of $16.99. That includes shipping.
While you're there, check out the rest of our shows on the network, like The Read Pile, Those Two Jerks, Lazy Gaming Guys, and Bacon in the Oven.
The best way you guys can support us, though, is just by leaving a review, either on iTunes or Stitcher. It helps other people find us and lets us know how awesome we are.
That really helps other Brokettes find us, future Brokettes. And of course, if you spread the word and tell friends, hey, you like comics, you might enjoy this, that is awesome. We always appreciate that. And of course, we appreciate hearing you guys on Twitter, on Facebook, on Tumblr, on Instagram, on Facebook. The support that we hear from Brokettes after an episode comes out definitely keeps us going, and we absolutely love it. So thank you so much.
As always, thank you guys so much for your support. Now you can put away your wallets, close up them pocketbooks, because we are done with the podcast for this week.
Hit the X on the Bank of America, on the Wells Fargo, on the whatever your state is, 1, because it's always like Wisconsin Bank 1, or Illinois Bank 1, Chicago Bank 1. Close out on that, because you're down to 0 or possibly negative after all this shit that we talked about, all the solicitations, especially that Harley Quinn statue.
Oh, Harley Quinn. Always taking my money. But thank you guys so much. As always, I'm Kelly.
And I'm Daniel.
We'll see you next week.